Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Jack here. Now today I'm going to walk you through a complete business setup if you're looking to start selling on Amazon and you're living in Australia. Now in this video we're going to be covering ABNs and company setups. We're going to be covering taxes, GST, and business bank account setups. Now before we get into this, I just want to let you know that this isn't actual legal advice. I can only teach this stuff going by my own experiences. So what I would suggest is to get in contact with an accountant. If you have one already, go and approach them and ask for advice, because when it comes to taxes, business setup, everyone's situation is going to be different. Okay, so someone who already has a job, or someone who is earning six figures, or earning 50,000 a year, 20,000 a year, everyone's tax situation is going to be different, whether you have already got a business or not. So I suggest to get an accountant or reach out to an accountant if you don't have one already and get more advice from them. I can only teach from experience. This isn't legal advice. But in saying that, I think this video will definitely help you out with the overall structure of setting up a business, especially if it is your first business and you're looking to sell on Amazon. So first and foremost, one of the questions that I get asked quite a lot is, Jack, should I be setting up an ABN or should I set up a company? And a lot of people do this because they want to make sure, obviously they're paying the least amount of taxes as possible. They want it to be as simple as possible, right? So I'm going to go through my own experiences with this and just go through a couple of things. We'll tie this into taxes as well as into income tax, because whether you set up an ABN or a company is going to affect that. So first of all, applying for an ABN is completely free, right? So applying for an ABN, I've got on my screen here. This is just through the government website, through the Australian government website. You can just apply for an ABN and it's free to do so. And you just put in your personal details, right? They'll ask for a few details and then you get an ABN and you can basically start doing business under that ABN. And the good thing about an ABN is that you can run your business either under your personal name or you can run it under a different name. Legally, it's going to be under your personal name. But let's just say you are running a pet store company and you have a pet store that says, let's just say you sell pet beds and you have a company or you have a business called Pet Beds, right? And that's your brand name you want to sell on Amazon with, right? You can sell under Pet Beds, but legally when you do your documents and when you do your taxes and stuff, it'll just be under your personal name, but you don't have to show your personal name when you are selling. So that's the good part about that. So applying for an ABN is quick and easy to do. I started off with an ABN, right? I actually didn't form company until I really, really needed it, like a few years down the road. So my personal suggestion is to apply for an ABN. Okay, that's what I first did. But we'll go through a company setup as well, because there are some instances where it might be better for you if you are already earning quite a bit of money or if you have a business already. So when it comes to a company setup, I would only recommend to do that further on down the road. Okay, so the main reasons for this is because if you have an ABN, it's a lot more simple when it comes to tax time. You don't require as many documents. There's just a different, completely different structure when it comes to company, okay? And you're definitely going to need, you're going to need an accountant either way, whether you have an ABN or a company. You're definitely going to need an accountant if you have a company set up, okay? If you don't know how to do your books, definitely when it comes to a company, there's just different areas, different structure. It's a bit more complicated. I would only recommend, say, doing a company if you are further on down the road, or if you are starting to get employees. You need a different structure, okay? So it's a bit more complicated. So the answer to, do I need an ABN or a company? Do I need to form a company when first getting started? I would personally recommend an ABN first, okay? There's not too much to say about a company other than it's just a bit more of a complicated setup, but it will help down the road if you have employees, if your turnover is high. We'll get into that when we get into the taxes part, but I would personally recommend to get started on an ABN. Now let's get into taxes. And again, I'm not a legal professional, so this isn't legal advice. This is just going by my own personal experiences and what I would recommend for you as a beginner. So the income tax rates is something that is going to be one of the most important parts in deciding whether you want to go through ABN or forming a company. So when it comes to an ABN, this is going to be different for everyone, because if you have a full-time job or if you have a part-time job, even casual work, if you're already making income, this is going to factor in, okay? If you don't have a job at all and you're looking to start a business, not something I'd recommend, right? But this is going to play into the tax brackets and whatnot. Okay, so first thing to note here is if you don't have any income at all, anything from 0 to 18,200 is not taxable, okay? It's only once you start earning over this amount that you start getting taxed. Okay. So what I did is when I started earning around this amount, okay, this is with all avenues of income. This is with my course, Amazon selling, drop shipping, just, affiliate marketing, all that stuff together. It comes into your income, okay? Whether you've got investments, whatever it may be. Obviously, tax is different with investments, but any type of personal income, um, it comes into these tax brackets. And when I started earning around this amount, 120,000, maybe over, is when I would personally recommend you start looking at forming a company, okay? Because in the long term, it's most likely going to save you on tax. And when you form a company, there's a lot of other things that you can claim on tax as well. So just to keep it simple, I would again start on an ABN, okay? Because these tax rates look scary, but it's just a lot more simple. So these are the tax rates for personal income as an individual. Now, if we look at company tax rates, as it stands, the base rate is 25%. Okay, so people might think, okay, you're looking here. Maybe if you earn over 45,000, maybe after the first year, okay. If you earn over 45,000, it's 32.5%. Where if you're a company, the base rate's 25%. If your aggravated turnover is less than 50 million. Okay, so that's something to consider as well. But again, when I first got started, I just kept it simple. The first few years, I was earning, probably the first couple of years, I was earning around this 45 to 120K, maybe around 45K, maybe a little bit over. But then it wasn't until I started getting, around the 6-figure mark where I looked at forming a company. And it was actually recommended when I got my accountant. He actually recommended to form a company. And that's when I did so. I didn't do it off, my own desire. If you think, okay, maybe I'm paying a bit too much tax, again, I would get in contact with an accountant, tax professional, and see where you're at. But if you're first getting started, I would personally look at this here, because let's just say if you're doing it as a side hustle, right? You don't even earn, you don't even earn $18,000, or you earn around this tax bracket. If you were to form a company, doesn't matter if you earn 0 to 18,000. If you do anything under a company, you're still going to be paying this. Okay, so as an individual, you're going to look at this. It's like, all right, if I'm starting it as a side hustle, you want it to be easy for you to report when it comes tax time. You want to give all your stuff to an accountant or whatever. If you are doing it under an ABN or income tax, right, personal income tax, that's what I'd look at. Again, it's going to be different if you're already earning money. If you've already got a job, if you're earning, say, 60K a year in a full-time job, again, it's going to be different. So again, I would get in contact with a tax professional, because it's always going to be different in that regard. So next thing I want to look at is GST. So when it comes to GST, a lot of people ask, Jack, do I need to register for GST straight away? There's stuff I can claim when it comes to Amazon taxing. Now, again, it's going to be different for everyone. But what I did was I just went by the books, and the books say when your business or enterprise has a GST turnover, or so gross income from all business minus GST of 75,000. So I personally didn't register for GST until I needed to. Now, again, people's situations are going to be different. Okay, so what I did personally was I waited until I was earning 75,000 or over per year, and then I registered for GST. Okay, because that's when you have to start. You have to start reporting this stuff and then claiming stuff on GST. And again, it's going to be different for everyone. There can be the debate of, look, if you're selling on Amazon, there's things you can claim on GST. There's things you can claim anyway as business expenses. So I would, again, get in touch with your accountant or get in touch with an accountant. But what I personally did for GST is wait until I was earning over 75,000 per year. My piece of advice for you as a beginner is I would just wait. I would just hold off unless your accountant says otherwise, because I personally don't see the need to, and even my accountant told me he didn't see the need to apply for GST until I was earning over that amount. But again, like I said, it's not legal advice. Your situation may be different, but I just waited until I earned over 75 gross income per year, and then that's when I registered for GST. Now, next thing we want to look at is business bank accounts. And I've got the Westpac page up here because I have an account. Why I have my accounts open with Westpac. Now, a lot of people say, okay, you need to open a business bank account as soon as you get an ABN or as soon as you form as a company. So I started doing that later on down the track as well. I didn't open a proper business bank account until like a year or so ago because I personally didn't see the need to. And then I just did it when my accountant suggested it because he said, look, now that you've formed a company, we can open a business bank account, keep the transactions separate. Because what it did for me was not only did it help things be a lot cleaner when it comes to tax time, but it actually cost me less because my accountant has all the transactions through my business bank account, and it actually takes him less time to sort through all the expenses, the income and expenses, and it costs me less to use my accountant. Okay, so because it takes him less time. So what I did personally was I waited. Okay, but if I was to go back and start it again, I would probably get a business bank account straight away, even if you are under an ABN, and then anything that you do for the business, any business expenses, income and expenses, just go straight through to the business bank account. And it's just a bit different, depending on what bank you're with. I had to get in contact with my bank because business bank account was separate to personal bank account, and I wanted to be able to transfer money in between each just to make things easier. For me, if I was to start again, I would open up a business bank account as soon as possible. I hear a lot of accountants recommend that it's open a business bank account straight away. But I think as soon as you start making business purchases, so say if you order your product or any income you get from Amazon, once you start selling products, it probably is easier to go through your business bank account. Like I said, I was completely new to it. So I didn't open up a business bank account. I really didn't know what I was doing when I first started all of this. And then I just did it when my accountant recommended it to me. That's why it's so important to get an accountant, because I'm not a professional at this stuff. I just do what I do. And then the accountant does what he does. And then we just, mingle together and make stuff work. Okay. So just keep the professional tax stuff to the professionals. Okay. I try and learn it myself along the way. I've learned a lot about tax ever since starting my business years ago, 3-4 years ago. So I've learned that way. The main thing is that I would open a business bank account as soon as possible, because you want to divide your business and personal income and expenses as much as you can, just to make it a lot easier. But just for reference, what I did with mine is I just went on the business one low plan. Okay, your bank will be different. Every bank's going to be different when it comes to opening a business bank account. I just did the low fee. I don't have any employees at the moment. I just needed an account open that was separate to my personal account. Okay, it's like my rent, groceries, personal expenses come through personal. Anything business related, any like business subscriptions, or if I was to buy, wholesale products or anything like that, anything that's related to the business, I buy through the business account. Okay. And that's just how I've set it up personally. Again, it's going to be different for you, or maybe different for you. That will just make things easier for you and your accountant, and more than likely cost you less over time. So just a quick rundown of what we've spoken about. For ABN or company, ABN is an easier setup and it's lower taxes at the start. Again, if you're earning 100K a year in your normal job, it's going to be different to someone who's not earning any money and looking to start a business. Okay. So again, get advice from a tax professional. A company, I would suggest set up for later on. If you have never started a business before, if you've never opened or if you never applied for an ABN or opened a company or formed a company before, I would start with an ABN. Companies for later on, in my opinion. Taxes, personal income, again, it's going to be lower in the beginning. It's going to be different for you if you already have a job. Company tax is better for when you are earning more in your business. So if you're earning, say, over 100K per year in your business, then maybe it's, or 120K per year. That's usually the roundabout figures, around 120K. If you're earning that or more, then I would suggest maybe looking at forming a company. Again, tax professional, this isn't legal advice. Okay. GST, recommended to not register until earning over 75,000 in your business. That's what I did. You may be different. Business bank account, recommended once you start making money and have expenses for your business. So once you start making money from it, or once you start spending some money, once you start, once you get the ball rolling with your business and you've got some expenses, some income in it, that's when I would recommend to open up a business bank account and keep things separate. But that is it. I hope this video has helped you out. If you do have any questions or you want me to cover something else, or if there's something you think I haven't gone into depth enough with, please comment down below and let me know. This business stuff has been recommended by quite a few of you. So if you want any other business stuff or business setups, please let me know, comment down below, and I'll be happy to try and make a video on it for you guys. Apart from that, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day or night wherever you're watching. Stay safe. I'll see you guys in the next one.